All right, it's after 5 o'clock. We'll get the meeting going. We'll call a meeting to order of the Tainter Lake Rehabilitation District for March 20th. Thanks for attending. We're going to start with the approval of the agenda and the regular meeting minutes from 2:20 and any February, March 2025 committee meetings as submitted.
Yeah, just so we know for sure we're approving or not, the Water Quality Committee from 2:24, Boating Safety from 3:17, our regular meeting from 2:20, and the Carp and Stocking Committee from 2:20-25.
Thanks, Tom. So we've all read those and looked them over.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and regular meeting minutes that Tom talked about.
Thank you, Chuck.
Second.
A second from Grant. All right. Any discussion on any of those meeting minutes? All right, then let's vote. All in favor of passing those? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Item C, educational and informational speaker. We have none scheduled. All right. We'll go on to item D, recognition of visitors and visitors' comments. No comments from our visitor. Well, thank you for attending. All right. Commissioner communication, item E. I know that my calendar is coming quickly up on the Stevens Point Lakes and Rivers Convention next week. So I'll be there Wednesday morning through Friday afternoon. And I think Tom, who else is going? Nobody? Al?
I think Al is, yeah.
Okay, Al and I. So that's what I have coming up. I do have some stuff on our PayPal stuff, but will be in another bullet point. So other than that, any other commissioner communication?
I do.
All right, Tom.
About 3 weeks ago, I spoke to the Dunn County Fish and Game. I asked them if they would like to work with us on a joint project. I wasn't really specific on what we were looking for, whether they wanted to donate money or whether they wanted to help volunteer with a project. And they were very interested in helping us one way or another. They vote on things twice. So they voted after I left that meeting during their regular meeting, and then they will vote again next month, and we'll hear back from them at that time. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at the Muskies Inc. meeting in Chippewa Falls. The primary goal there was to thank them for their donation. Great group of people. There were 50 people. Yeah, 50 people in the meeting, and enthusiastic as hell and as heck. And what I did notice was there were 2 guys from Tainter Lake that were there. So that was good. Next, I have been invited to speak to the Tainter Trail Tamers on April 8th. And they have suggested they may be ready to donate some more money. So I will go and speak to them.
That's the Snowmobile Club?
Yep,
Okay.
enthusiastically.
All right.
We got $500 from them last year, right?
Yep,
Yes.
yep,
Yep.
which is great. So Chuck, do you want to talk about the Stowe conference?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to hog the show here, so.
The Red Cedar?
Yeah.
Well, that was last Thursday. And Jerry Porter was there, Tom Bilson, myself, and looks like their attendance is holding. And the best thing that I always get out of that conferences, you get to talk to people that you normally don't get to see. I talked to Alex Smith from the Spooner DNR office, and also my supervisor on water testing. We got a minor problem there this year, and they had some really good speakers, and uh, it was a pretty good show. Good lunch. So,
Well, thanks for attending. Yeah, I went to that as well, and I was a little late due to some other issues, but yeah, the biggest thing I got out of it was, they're doing just great projects in the watershed with individual farmers here and there. And they show really good things using cover crops and the amount of nitrogen and that's retained and phosphorus retained and the no need for additional fertilizers and how they can make money, more money using cover crops and that it helps the runoff. But it's a farmer here and there. It's not a systematic change. And so that guy from the University of Illinois, I believe, or no, Madison, at the end there, talked about that systematic change. And I'm not sure how we all are gonna make that happen, but it needs to happen.
The one meeting that I was not able to attend was last month on February 20th. There's a group that met that is discussing, I think, what was Grassland 2.0. And it's the farmers along the Red Cedar that are discussing removing some of their row crops from along the river and putting in grass crops and raising beef, grass-fed beef. I haven't been able to find anyone that took any minutes on the meeting, so that's all I have.
Yeah.
But that is something that's in the works, which I think is good.
Yeah, I did go to the Red Cedar Conservation Farmers meeting at Viking Bowl there in Colfax on March 4th, and they did talk about that grassland and nitrogen use and cover crops and no-till or low-till farming that they talked about at the Red Cedar Conference too. But they had about 50 farmers there
Good.
and free lunch, and I'm big into that. And I kept a low profile kind of. I remember what Dan Zur told me at a meeting last fall, that farmers are a very tight knit group, and I don't blame them, and just kind of listen and learn. So I took some good notes there, and I listened and learned.
I think it's a good project because it's difficult to buy a quarter or a half of beef because farmers are getting really good prices if they send it right to market and not butcher it here locally. We just got lucky with a quarter. So hopefully something will happen.
Interesting. Do we want to talk about the participation in next year's event at all, or that we're thinking about it, or?
The Red Cedar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I contacted Scott Ravois. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, and asked him what it would cost to have a display there. And it's only $50. And with that $50, you get one person is allowed attendance. So I think it would be a good idea for us to have some kind of display there to show what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And
Even
Maybe
just
we-
a statement on the tax levies and what's history's been or what, what we've done. Yeah, absolutely.
it might be a good way to show how we've been very careful in how we have levied taxes.
Yes.
And it might be a good way to raise some funds.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
awareness, anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Any other commissioner communication? If not, we'll move to item F, which is the treasurer report. Grant, what you got for us?
Yep, I sent out a couple emails to you guys today, but one was the updated year-to-date income statement. So Tom, the balances are on there. Might be
Oh, okay.
easier than
Fine.
trying to.
That's fine.
But right now in our checking account, we have $27,904.67. And the savings account is $1,134.45. So basically, we're starting to get our tax levy payments in from the townships. We did have one donation in February of $250 by John Tack, Chuck's son. So we must have got Chuck's birthday present again this year, I'm thinking.
Actually, he was, needed some tax write-off.
Okay.
And I suggested us.
There
Perfect.
you go.
See, so this is a good model for anybody out there watching. Just
Perfect.
remember, you can do that in 2025 as well. And so, yeah, I have some more checks that I just got today. That'll kind of complete this first round of payments. So everything's moving along like it should.
Excellent. Thank you, Grant. All right. Item G, discussion and action.
Do we need to approve that, Jerry?
Oh, sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? All right. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed. Thank you. Discussion and action. Item 1, committee reports, meetings, membership, recruitment, and updates, boating and safety, sedimentation, aqua vegetation, water quality, community connections, and fundraising.
Yeah, I guess I got, Jane and I met on the community connections and fundraising subcommittee yesterday. And we met with Melissa Nealand, who is kind of in charge of the Dunn County Historical Society. And the reason we met with her is they happen to own about 60 acres of land at the intersection of Highway 25 and County Road D, so just south of Seasons Harvest Greenhouse. It's across Highway 25 from the really steep piece of land that got tilled up here, not however that much that's been 5-10 years ago. And what she was wanting to talk with us about is they would like to take that land out of being tillable row crop and get it into a CRP. So if you look at it from a aerial photo or a plat book, what's happened is there was like kind of a swamp marsh area within that farmland that they own, and it's actually it's filled in because across the road washed off that hill and into there. And then when you look at the edge of the tillable land that they've actually been doing, there appears to be some erosion there. And
Yep.
so what it's done on the one end, down by where actually Al lives and Jane lives and Ray Whitkey lives, there's the island across from Cleese Landing. It would stand to reason that some of that field has washed off and filled in that area. So I told her that it was something that we'd probably be pretty happy about as a lake district if they were able to turn that into CRP. And she was just kind of looking for ideas at this point. And, I basically she's gonna have to help do some legwork to get into the CRP plan, but it would turn it into kind of a public area. I advised her maybe to talk to the Dunn County Fish and Game, because if they plan it into like a prairie, I know they raise pheasants and they usually look for places to release them, that it could happen there. And that maybe if they would have a driveway in there and a little area where there was signage and educational pieces, that we could have, something there that people could learn from. So,
Yeah, I talked to her last year this has been in the works for a couple of years. They'd like to put some walking paths
Yep.
in there and kind of a prairie
yep,
setting,
yep,
which would be great because the property as it comes to Gunther Road or 770th Avenue, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Drops off significantly and it washes
yep.
quite badly. So anything they do in there would be fantastic.
So, yeah, I told her, like I say, I told her, that definitely, we would love it. And, so if I just told her if there was something she needed to help kind of move things along, that she could reach out to me, and if there was anything we could do to help or support it, that we would.
So that's the executive director of the Dunn County Historical Society,
Yep,
and they own this whole
Yeah.
they
spot
own
that's
it.
being tilled south of Season's Harvest all the way to the lake.
Yep, it was donated to him by Russell Rossbach, who also donated the money to have the Historical Society, she
Yeah.
said. And so it's roughly 60 acres. It's just a little better than 60 acres. And it's, you know, it hasn't been that long ago that you could drive your pontoon into where, like, well,
Around that island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around that island, exactly. Jane told me when she moved here, I think she said it was 8 years ago. At the end of her dock, there was 30 inches of water. Now her dock is like 20 something feet longer and there's like 6 inches of water. So it's what's happening up at the sandbar at a little bit of a smaller scale, but a similar result where it's, taking away those navigational channels. And, we kind of are at a point where like, as she joked, if you just let it keep filling in, she's just gonna have a bigger backyard that goes out to that island. So,
And I'll talk to her some more as well, Grant, because I asked them to come out and clean up their fence line because it looks like heck.
yeah, okay,
I've lived out on that road since 91
okay, I didn't
and
realize.
it's never
that's where
been
you're-
cleaned up.
Okay.
It's a mess. And she said she would. And of course, being a good director, she said, "Are you willing to help?"
Uh-huh. You volunteered
Yeah,
yourself for
yeah.
some fence cleanup?
So,
Be good
yeah,
exercise.
I'll have an opportunity.
So I thought I think it's kind of interesting for us, as it's a little bit of an experiment on what can be done. You talk about how farmers can maybe use some no-till practices rather than what they've been doing. Is this an example of finding ways to create prairie land, or, even I think about the erosion that happens down the riverbed, and is there a way to seed something into those riverbeds, almost like they would do along an interstate bank, that could help hold those in, so they're not just these barren sand slides. But yeah, so that was my big update.
I have a quick update on the water quality meetings. We had one on February 24th, and we're setting some goals, doing some research, and each member one member every meeting is giving a report on something, say on something as simple as duckweed or zebra mussels next month. Got one of the guys looking into the True Green Spring Green Oasis to see exactly what they put on your lawn, how often can they put phosphorus on your lawn, whereas you can't buy phosphorus at Walmart, thank God. We're discussing doing a future town hall meeting on water quality this summer, and our next meeting is Monday, April 7th.
Excellent. So the fundraising committee's got a event at Jake's Supper Club. I put it on Facebook and it seems to be getting a little chatter. So if y'all want to just say you're going or interested, it always helps to get more stuff on there. So thanks for sending that to me, Grant.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys getting that out there. I feel bad I can't actually be at the event because I have to travel for work that week, but Jane Pierzina has been just an awesome help on this fundraising subcommittee. She's got a lot of energy and she just retired like last week or something, she told me yesterday. So um it's a starting point. I told her to not be disappointed if we didn't get a huge turnout because what we've kind of got in the back of our minds is that we want to plan an event for the fall too. And so we just have to start somewhere. And so hopefully, yeah, we can get a little buzz going on Facebook. Anybody that's watching this, you get a free drink ticket if you come to Jake's on Tuesday, April 8th at 6 o'clock. And you just can listen in to some of the ideas that we've had surrounding fundraising and some ideas that we have as a district to try to keep moving things forward. So
And Jane's gonna present this?
Al's actually gonna
Al?
do some talking. I sent him some notes and he's got some ideas as well. Jane will be there to help check everyone in, get everybody their drink tickets, and she's gonna maybe try to do a little recruiting to see if we can find some more help to execute some of these ideas that we have. So it's a place to start. Like I say, if there's a great crowd, that's awesome. And if there's not, then we'll just plan the next event and keep trying. So
Yeah. Good, thank you. I have it on my calendar, hope to be there.
Just a little to report on erosion. Still waiting on the response. I'm not sure that the county has contacted the landowner of the Stewart property yet. Even though I've been bugging him to do so. As far as carp production goes, we are on track for stocking muskie in the fall. So nothing to report there really. As far as the carp bounty project, having a little bit of problem there. Our source that we've used in the past to get rid of our carp, we can no longer use. So I've contacted the county and I have a couple of suggestions. I'm looking for a couple more because I would like to, if possible, find some place where we can get rid of them for nothing rather than send them to a landfill. So I should know more soon.
Way up.
Sure.
Our Boating and Safety Committee met on Monday, the 17th at Jake's and, kind of primary purpose was getting all the paperwork together that we need to submit to the DNR for the ordinance. We have to have, waterway, application, permits for the buoys. These are all new permit applications because we're a new entity that's taking them over, plus we're adding buoys. We're gonna have a pair of buoys at the entrances and exits of each of the no wake zones except for at the Hay River because it's so small. So a lot of paperwork to get together. Al's gonna need to sign that when he gets back. And then we can ship that off to the DNR and hopefully that process goes well. I have it on my to-do list to contact Scott, I think it's Nebafield from the county, who's in charge, his department's in charge of the boat landings to find out what we need to do about new signage for the slow no wake signs because we want to change those, update those, make them stand out a little bit more and see if they have any requirements or if we have to use an approved vendor to get those done and what those costs are going to be. And that's about it from our committee.
Hey, Jim, on the signage, can we use a QR code?
Yeah, probably. I don't see why not.
It'd be a
So
heck of a lot cheaper, wouldn't it?
then what?
Than printing a big sign or
Well,
Making a big sign?
what about like Grandpa Jones who shows up there, doesn't have he has a flip
Yeah.
phone.
I get it. I don't,
But I mean, I can see having the QR code maybe added to the sign in addition to the language that's on the sign. The other thing that we want to do is uh, get a scaled down version of the ordinance that is on a laminated sheet that goes to all the people that are running Airbnbs. Because those are the folks that aren't used to being in a boat and maybe don't know what a buoy means or whatever. And especially for noting the rules that are different for personal watercraft, because the jet skis have different rules than boats. They have to be 200 feet from not the shoreline, but from a dock. So if you got Tom's dock that's out 40 feet, in that case, they'd have to be 240 feet from the shore where his dock is in order to be legal. And also a boat would have to be 140 feet out, depending on, and that goes through the channel too. So if someone has a dock that goes out, 20 feet into the channel, that makes that channel that much narrower. That's what the state statute says. That has nothing even to do with our ordinance. So kind of making those, taking the dry language of the ordinance and making it into an easy to read one sheeter that can be left at people that are using their homes for Airbnbs, and then probably at, see if Elk Point can put it up and Jake's and that kind of thing.
I put a lot of work into that.
All right. Any other committee reports? Report outs? All right, move on to item number 2, research project, survey of persons using the lake, residents or non-residents. Who's got that?
I think that's Al. He was going to contact,
Oh.
I think it was Tina Lee,
Yep, one of her students.
and he didn't update anyone on that, so I'll just.
Okay. No comment. Draft board policy regarding document storage. Okay, a draft board policy.
Al sent it out yesterday,
Hmm.
and it's pretty straightforward. It lays out how long we have to hold on to certain documents. I don't think it's rocket science.
Okay.
I think it's pretty easy. We do have to have the financial stuff, and you need to have all the canceled checks and the checkbook registers and.
Yeah, I've got all of it in a big folder,
Yep.
so
Yep.
it wouldn't hurt to, so was that the safe within the safe at your house or where?
Well, and that's what I wanted to talk to Al about, because if need be, I will get a firebox to put in my gun safe and keep just Lake District stuff in there.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, once we get that figured out, just let me know and let's just get together and,
Most of our documents are going to be electronic,
yep. I mean,
except probably for yours.
I have quite a bit of paper still
Right.
because but most of that stuff is, invoices and things like that are gonna be pertinent to the audit
Sure.
every year, so. I do have some paperwork that should probably go in the safe of these, accounts that we just started. Some things like that, but that aren't invoices, but we can get that handled here.
All right. Well, he does have the draft. It was published out there and seems to be comprehensive. And then he said, we'll look to approve it in April. So
Okay.
if you have any additional concerns, let him know. And we'll go from there. Boating and safety to be included in strategic plan.
Yeah, that one's mine, working with Al and Renee, who's our new consultant from SEH in Chippewa Falls. We've been working on the strategic plan, which has kind of a life of its own since last fall when Pete and I and Al were working on it. And somehow in the evolution of this plan, we ended up incorporating the committees, water quality, sedimentation, aquatic vegetation, fundraising is in there, and we did not put in boating and safety committee. And we're just wondering, what should we put in there? Yes, no? Jim, everybody's thoughts.
Well, being that that's the only committee that has kind of oversight of our only ordinance, it's probably, and also is gonna have regular ongoing yearly expenses with, the buoys and that kind of thing. It's probably, uh, it's a big oversight.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
I don't
Like
know
I say, this thing kind of evolved and all of a sudden we go, whoa. So,
Yep. So, yeah, because we also figure that, um, that committee is if there's ever gonna be other ordinances that evolve or show up, there, it'll probably start out or be assigned to that committee.
okay,
Because there's already been people talking about wakeboards and stuff like that, and I don't know if that's as big of an issue on this lake, but obviously it is another lake, so, yeah. That's probably important to be in the strategic plan.
okay. Anybody else?
This is definitely a standing committee and should be included, yeah.
Okay,
All right, item 5 is use of PayPal business account for fundraising. And just doing some research on how best to accept funds. It looks that PayPal is almost the only choice, and is an easy choice, I think. There is no monthly cost. It is a transactional cost, depending on the card processing. If it's PayPal or Venmo, or if it's point of sale, it would allow us to do point of sale, not that we have plans for it right now, but, yeah, basically would be, approximately 3% and 30 cents per transaction, or 2.89% and 0.29 dollars per transaction. So it's something that we could put on the website and allow
QR code.
QR code. It would go straight to our bank account. And any other thoughts on that, Jim?
No, because I reviewed it. I have a PayPal business account and it's like one of the easiest things to set up, especially for the limited number of transactions. If we were a business that was doing hundreds of transactions a month, then it'd pay to go to a regular merchant account, but that has a monthly fee. This is the easiest way to do it without and if we want to build in the transaction fee into the donations, we can do that, but usually it's easier to just figure you're gonna lose that part of a donation to the transaction fee.
Yeah, it's the missing link that we need right now to be able to accept donations.
Yeah,
and
because we can make it really simple too. I mean, we can have a donation form on the website and they can, click down, donate 20, 50, 100, 500. you know, that, if, make it that simple. And someone, that uses, they can use their own PayPal account. They can use, a credit, just a regular credit card. They don't have to have a PayPal account. And if somebody really wants to donate it and bypass the fees, they can send a direct donation through from PayPal to PayPal, and that will bypass all the fees.
Yep, well, and I mean, we can still accept checks and stuff like that too, but just it's the way the world's moving, right? I mean, we're not the first people to talk about using PayPal or a QR code, and I think I could even think, and I don't know that would maybe we won't generate anything from it, but if we're gonna have signage at a boat landing or something like that, here's a QR code. If you appreciate Tainter Lake and you want to help make it better, scan this QR code. If you give us $1, awesome. If you give us $100, better, but just have it set up so it's available. And when we have these fundraising type events, it's pretty easy. You put the QR code on whatever you're handing out and people can have the option to do it that way. So I feel like, well, number one, thanks for doing the research, guys. This is something I know very little about. And number two, for what we're doing with that fundraising subcommittee, I just kind of feel like we kind of have to have it to be able to do it right. So so do we have to make a motion to,
Yeah, I was gonna move that we authorize our treasurer to create a PayPal small business account linked to our,
maybe a checking account? Because then it'll go from the checking account into the funds managed by Wasnick Heike.
yeah, so a small business PayPal account linked to our checking account at
Wisconsin Credit Union.
Wisconsin Credit Union. And do we need another person on that, or is just,
Well, what we need to do is have, we need to not have it attached to somebody's email. We need to have it, we have both like a general, like Tainter Lake District at
Yeah.
gmail.com. That's a general mail. And I think I've set up info. I think that's what
yeah, Revio is on info, so
Yeah.
why don't we connect it to info
yeah.
Okay.
at TainerLakeDistrict.org, and
Yeah, because I bumped into that problem today. I think I figured out how to pay that Zoom bill. But when I don't have the login information to get into our account, so there was a way to do a workaround where you could just pay the invoice by the invoice number. So I did it that way. So you're exactly right. As things change and whatever, if it's linked to that general account, that's gonna make the login process a lot easier. And Al is right now the way all of our other accounts are set up, from Wisconsin Credit Union to Wasnick Heike. It's Al and I are both on the account. So I'll have to look at how this PayPal works, but I would probably set that up the same way if it has. Is there two?
You can only set it up with one email account or
With
email
one
address, so
email,
use
but-
the info one.
With one email. Oh, and then it would make, I guess, suppose everybody on the board then could be able to get in there. If something were to happen to me, let's say.
Yeah.
So there's another backup there that,
And I think that because it's a business account, you wouldn't necessarily have to set it up under an individual's name. It would be the Tainter Lake Rehabilitation District would be but it would have contacts and you would be the main
primary.
contact, yeah.
I'd have a secondary contact.
Yeah.
there probably too. Okay, yep. Well, yeah, if that, do we have a motion?
yeah, so the motion was for the treasurer to create a small business PayPal account for the Lake District and connect it to our checking account.
I second it.
Second from Jim. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Grant,
All right,
PayPal away.
I'll work my way through making a PayPal account.
Thank you very much. It's the small business one.
Okay.
Be easy, easy peasy. All right, the next meeting of the Board of Commissioners, place and time, future date, agenda items. Our next meeting is set for April
17th, I believe. Yeah.
17, all right. 5 p.m. Jimmy, we have this room.
Yep, we have this room, I believe, for the rest of the year at this point.
Good deal.
Unless some county thing comes up and we get bumped.
All right. All right. Do we have an April speaker? Any ideas for an April speaker?
When does the carp, I suppose the carp bounty probably isn't really gonna start until they start spawning, so that's a little bit
End of May.
later. End of May?
Very end of May.
Does that need to be on our April meeting or details?
Just getting the word out, I mean,
Probably, yeah. I can certainly put that on there.
Maybe some PR like that sheet that we can make up for you and a Facebook event or, you know,
Yep.
just to try and communicate that out there. All right. I wonder if we can. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right, item I, adjourn. Adjourned.
sounds good to me.
Thank you.